Batman Superman World's Finest, issue 19, Mark Waid writing, Dan Mora back on the art for this issue. Happy to see.
Yep.
As always. And this, of course, is the one that's tying into Kingdom Come. We start off with The Flash, Barry Allen, talking about multiverses and running around. We get like a glimpse of a bunch of them. We see, Red Sun, and we see Martha Joker from Flashpoint and whatever else.
I do like looking through all of those. I did waste a lot of time.
I'm sure you did.
At looking at, like, you get the Batman or the Robin and Batgirl Thrill Killer are in there.
Sure, yeah.
Spent a lot of time going through those.
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns is there, I think, as well. Yeah. And it's basically just him explaining this, and he's looking for David, the Thunder Boy. Boy Thunder,
yeah.
That was it. And he says, he's like, oh shit, I found him. Okay, so we see Superman, Batman, and Robin fighting Wonder Woman's villains, as they point out. And Flash just swoops in, puts them in a jail cell, and says, "We ain't got time for this. Like, this is important. I found David, but he's in a weird world, right? So I'm going to try and send you there with the cosmic treadmill." Interesting thing here. I wonder how you feel about this. Is they do like a 2-page kind of flashback, just recapping David's story. I think because it's been a little while since we had those issues, I actually thought this was just the right amount of time to spend saying, "Hey, here's what happened." But this is the sort of thing that I could see Connor complain about.
Not with me. You got to remember, I love continuity, right?
Oh, sure,
it's a problem. So being reminded in this way, it was nice because I read so many comics, right? And I have so much stuff going on through here, right? Again, I wasted way too much time looking at all these different multiverses. So being reminded of Boy Thunder and the stuff that he went through and how we lost him to the time stream, that was a nice little reminder.
I tell a lie, it was only 1 page. I thought it was 2 pages. It was only 1 page.
Well,
even better.
I believed you, so what does that say about me?
It's the sort of thing where if this was the last arc, I'd be, this is absurd. But because it's a couple of arcs ago, I'm like, you know what, I actually appreciate this. Was like a year ago in reading, probably, when we were doing this. So I'm pleased for this. So yeah, to get them on this cosmic treadmill, Flash sends them off to... First, it's the future. It's like post-Kingdom Come, where the Bruce and Superman are burying some of the other heroes, and there's this great 2-page spread as they realize that this is a cemetery just for superheroes, and you can sit and read all the tombstones here if you want with all the names.
There's too many people.
Yeah,
it's all of them, right?
Yeah.
So,
although I did laugh at one that just says Green Lantern. I'm like, hold on, which one?
Which one?
There's a lot of Green Lanterns. Even the Kingdom Come universe, I suspect there's more than one.
It should have said Green Lantern Corps, and it's just all of them.
So yeah, like that was a big deal. Red Robin's there. Bruce notices that, and he's like, "Wait, what does that mean? Who's Red Robin exactly?" He probably thinks it's Tim because main continuity, that is Tim, as opposed to Kingdom Come, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was Dick in Kingdom Come.
It was.
But but then they sort of like stabilize, like they said they would, and they end up much earlier in the timeline, before Kingdom Come happened. So it's that Earth, but it's much before. And we get a lot of fun jokes here. They go to Planet Krypton, which is run by Booster Gold, and this was a fun little gag here where they're like, "Have you ever heard of Booster Gold?" They're like, "Yeah, not yet anyway." And it's like, oh, so Booster Gold in this part of the, because this is obviously set in the past, he's not shown up yet to our Batman and Superman. But they comment on what he seems like he's like based on the fact that he runs a Planet Hollywood style restaurant based on superheroes.
Yep.
So that was all just fun stuff. And they're talking about what's going to happen if they find David. Like, you can't really just adopt him. It's a bit tougher because you're this single guy who lives in an apartment. It was tough enough, and it was tough enough for Dick to be adopted, and Bruce is a billionaire with a mansion.
And he goes, "And I'm rich." Like, my parents were rich.
Don't bring up that horrible quote from that horrible issue.
But yeah, so I did like that, and he goes, "Yeah, and it's still kind of a problem because you gotta, because he's still school age, you think." At this point, we've seen him on a date with Supergirl.
And social services are going to watch you like a hawk, which is not good if you're a superhero with a secret identity. It's maybe tough to explain things. So Superman reads some of their encyclopedias and stuff and says, "Hey, there's something weird about this Earth." And he's like, "What?" This Earth seems to have never heard of the multiverse. Like, they've never interacted with another universe, and that's quite interesting. And then obviously we get to David, who is grown up. He is older here. He's not the same age, and he is beating up. Who's the villain here? They're beating up. Atom Master.
I don't have it in front of me. Yeah.
Atom Master. And David grabs her head and basically burns her face, and it's like really violent, and it makes her talk, but like Bruce and Superman are like, hey, that was a bit much. She was already like defeated. You didn't really have to go that serious. And then when David realizes that this is a Superman from, well, not his Earth, but the Earth that he was in briefly in the storyline, he's like happy and says, I'm so happy you're here. I've been waiting all these years to finally do this. And then the last page is he's grabbing Superman by the neck and he's like firing off all of his powers. There's lightning and fire everywhere. So he's holding a grudge, it's safe to say. So this is interesting that like we're kind of like setting up, because I didn't think we're like, obviously I knew from Solicits where we're doing some Kingdom Come stuff, but when we finished the David story, I thought, oh, that could just be the end of it. He grows up to be Magog in you know, the other universe, no biggie. But this is interesting that they're actually in that universe now.
Which is why I am very curious about the Kingdom book, because that's all about Gog, who Gog ends up giving Magog his power and stuff. It's very much a timey-wimey type of circle thing. So the fact that that's coming out in 2024, you would think concurrently with a lot of what's going on with Waid here, you know, it feels like Waid's finally putting his stamp on things, like his final stamp.
It's interesting. Yeah. No, it's a pretty fun issue. I enjoyed the build-up. I enjoyed the Planet Krypton stuff. And, you know, it's tough to say much yet. It's mostly just them reacting to this world and noticing the differences in it, which are solid enough so far. But very much the part one of at least a 2-part, if not, you know, 3 or 4-part stories. So we'll see where it goes. But you know, we'll see why David's so upset next time.
Well, I would think that it's that they never came to get him, because it's been quite a bit of time, right? Because he was a teenager.
It's time for him, not for Superman and Batman. It's only been months, nothing. Probably, right? But, yeah.
But for him, I'm sure it's one of those things that he waited and waited. Now he's had to take things into his own, and maybe he was rejected by this universe's Superman and Batman, because they did say time is a little bit different here, you know. But yeah, just the whole idea that Magog represented comics that Waid wasn't a fan of in the 90s. That's why he looks like Cable, right? Is he's a representative of that. And there, if you know, in the Kingdom, it deals with timelines and doing timey-wimey stuff. So just the whole idea of Waid working out what he didn't like. Now he's come back and turned him into, you know, Superman's long-lost sidekick, you know, and that adds an extra layer of tragedy to all of this. Because if I remember Kingdom Come right, Magog comes and kills the Joker, right? And that's how he becomes big and famous.
That sounds familiar. It's been a while since I read it, but that sounds right.
So, you know, because I think Joker came to Metropolis, gassed the Daily Planet, and Superman, that's what leads Superman to go up to the Arctic for all those years. But then Magog comes in and ushers this new era of heroes. So just the idea now that this was Superman's sidekick coming in and protecting his city, it adds that extra layer that I really like.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously the art's great. Dan Mora doing his thing. I don't know if there's any particular standouts for me, other than it's just generally very good. Obviously the Cemetery double page is quite good, but it's a pretty simple, you know, thing art-wise. A lot of identical tombstones, but it's a nice moment in terms of like a big reveal. So yeah, it's good. And obviously I think he's having a little bit of fun drawing the different versions of Superman and Batman, you know, a little bit older, because even when they go back in time to the earlier part of the timeline, the Superman we see flying briefly still has a little bit of grey in his hair. It's like, okay, it's earlier, but it's still a different Superman for sure.
Yeah.
So all right, what are you giving World's Finest issue 19?
I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it's solid enough, but yeah, it's not blown me away either. So, just a fun, good time with nice art.